When you tease your anti-romantic husband by licking ice cream seductively. A month passed while Van was busy in her exam and Jungkook was looking after her study as well as his work. Today she gave her last exam now feeling all relaxed. She was laying on the bed after dinner. She was laying on her stomach and was scrolling through her phone then a message popped on it and her eyes sparkled. At the same time Jungkook barked in the room while Van lifted her lashes with his presence before she heard him speaking. Jungkook, you just had your dinner and you are laying on the bed like this? She frowned her brows. Again, he was acting like her father. Then how can she let him go that easily? When sorry, Daddy, she said thirstily, making him choke on his saliva while she got up and sat on the bed. His heartbeat increased while he gulped his saliva hard. They were maintaining eye contact with each other while she smirked mentally. Again, she brought painful chills in his whole body after the kiss they had that night. Jungkook tried his best not to let him wild emotion linger on his mind because he did not want to distract Wine. Just before exam, while he maintained the same distance like he was with her before her exam a month ago, after gaining his posture back, Jungkook stepped towards her and sat on the bed before her. Jungkook won, she hummed, then he continued, can you not call me that? She was looking at him with her puppy eyes, and she thought for some second before she poured wine. But daddy, she said little louder, making him to slap mentally on his own cheek. His lip twitched aside while she was staring at him with the same thirsty gaze, making him weak. Jungkook, nothing. I was saying that if you want to learn something, you can join my office as an intern so that you can utilize your vacation and you won't feel bored alone at home. She listened to his long speech carefully, then she kept her index finger on her chin and began to rub there as if she was thinking something. Jungkook joined his brows on her action while she stretched her bare legs both sides of his sitting position as she was wearing an oversized gay hoodie. Why, no, my friends are going on a fun trip, so I wanna join them too. She said while his blood was getting hot with her bare skin contact. At the same time, he totally forgot what he was trying to convince her. Then he hummed sheepishly and was about to say up, but she locked him between her legs, making his eyes skip a beat. She was beating her lower lip, then she purred nervously. When I will, if tonight we will unlock our fear. How badly she wanted to blend herself in his love and was trying every possible trick to lure him, but he never fell for any. After that kiss, she thought we will go further, but he did not while his heart pumped violently as he understood what she meant. Did she now? It was not easy for him to, but he was waiting for her exam because he did not have the confidence if he will become a beast and hurt her. For him, she was a fragile girl who won't be able to bear the pain he will give her. He did not have any fear to unlock, but was afraid of hurting her. He gained his senses back, but his breath hissed when he found her sitting on his lap. She blinked innocently and encircled her hand around his neck while he chewed his lower lip nervously before he whispered, Jungkook, are you crazy? We just had our dinner. Let's go for a walk first. She pouted while he detached her hands and sat up. Her gaze fell on an ice cream cart as they were walking on the street near the colony. Then she tilted her head towards the man beside her, making him to stop while she stood before him. One, I want ice cream, Jungkook whom. Then they both strode towards the ice cream cart and Jungkook brought two cones of it. She took the both cones from his hand while he was paying. One turned around while opening the lid of the ice cream of both cones. She licked one and moaned, then she looked at the other one before she licked it too. Jungkook stepped toward her after he paid the bill with fast step, but his jaw dropped to see her having both the ice cream. Jungkook, yeah, one was mine. She titled her head with a frown on her face, then she scoffed one. You did not say one was yours, did you? Then she licked the ice cream while shrugging off her shoulder and walked past him while he followed her before he snickered. Jungkook, is not it obvious? She turned to him while swirling her tongue on one of the cone. Her eyes were bald which showed the beautiful curls of her lashes. He flustered with her ethereal beauty which she snorted. Why no, it's not obvious when things revolve around you. You always make things difficult, so I could not get this obvious stuff, she said because she was already irritated with him. While he understood her unpredictable mood, then he gritted his teeth. Jungkook, okay, fine, have it all, but let's go back. She clicked her tongue while twisting her lips in denial because he still has to piss him off. He joined his brows when he saw her walking further. Leaving him behind, he followed her before he snorted. Jungkook, Jay, where are you going at this hour? You will be tired. She cut him off. Fine, I want to walk to the park. If you want to come, you can join me. If not, then you can turn around and go back to home. But I won't come back, she said without turning back, cause she knew he will not let her go alone. While Jungkook complained inwardly, why in the world I got married to this little kid? Yuma, what kind of a punishment is this? Then he followed her while Van smirked triumphantly. Whatever, her only mission was to annoy him as much as she can till he will not take her as a little kid and try to teach her mannerism. After some time spending at the park, Vine felt bored. Then she looked at Jungkook, who was beside her, tugging his hand in his pocket. Then she purred lazily. When I'm tired, he looked at her worryingly. Then he parted his lips. Jungkook, let's go back. Then he turned around and stepped forward while Vine pouted sadly and did not follow him behind. Jungkook, after walking some steps, realized Vine was not with him. Then he turned back while his jaw dropped to witness her with some bigger asking for a lift. He took fast steps with snorting. Jungkook stole wine. She did not listen to him. Actually, she ignored him and signaled the biker to go while Jungkook stayed there, flabbergasted before he gained his senses. He could not believe that Vine just went with some random guy, that too when her husband was there with her. He immediately rushes after the bike as fast as he can. A while later, Jungkook, breathing heavily, barked in his living room while calling Vine continuously. Her phone was ringing, but she did not pick his call. Then someone passed him a glass of water from behind. As he was thirsty, he did not look behind and took the glass before he gulped down the water in it and turned to give back the glass, his eyes wide open while Vine seemed. Vine, why are you breathing as if you were running a marathon? Did she not know why he was breathing heavily? He clenched his jaw before he snorted. Jungkook, how can you just ask for a lift with a stranger if he did something wrong with you? Do you have any idea what if he kidnapped you? What will I tell Yuma and Appa? Maya flinched with his outburst and she mewed while lowering her head. When I did not want to walk again, so I asked for a lift. Then she looked up and continued. Before he drove me here without harming me, see, I am all good. He shook his head in disbelief. Janku, you could have told me that you don't want to walk anymore, so I would have arranged something for you. You can't just create problem for me. You, he titled his head aside. Then he again continued. Can you not be childish and unreasonable for sometimes? Vine pulled her lower lip out, then she said with low voice, when I told you I'm tired, you left me alone. A tear rolled down from the corner of her eyes. His heart tightened to see the tear in her eyes, then he clamped his anxiousness before he whispered, Janku, you said you are tired. Tell me, how would I know that you did not want to walk while I thought you want to come back, so I asked you to come. You could have told me that you did not want to walk. Vine lifted her wet lashes before she snorted. Wine, but whenever my friend says that she is tired, her boyfriend gives her piggy ride. Well, you are my husband, but you did not give me one. She wiped her tears and Jungkook grabbed her shoulder before he lifted her chin with his index finger. Their eyes met, then he said, Jungkook, you want a piggy ride? She nodded her head, then he left her and turned around before he squatted down while Van was looking at his back and heard him speaking. Jungkook, come, I will give you one, at least to the bedroom. Then she exclaimed. Why really? Then she saw him nodding his head. She bit her lower lip and kept the glass on the coffee table before she leaned on him and grabbed his shoulder while he sat up, and she encircled her legs around his lower waist. As he took one step, the little hair on his neck poked out because of her feather kiss on his neck. She deliberately brushed her lips on his skin after she wiped her tear dramatically with her one hand. Jungkook was barely able to breathe because of her sweet soul wine. The destination from downstairs to upstairs was meals for him. As soon as he got in his room, he put down her at the edge of the bed, abruptly making her to fall. Thankfully, it was a bed, otherwise she would have hurt herself. Still, she cursed her words expectantly while looking at him. One year, you are hurting me, she said to him, who then turned to her before he said, Jungkook, and what about you? You were literally. He stopped when he realized what he was going to say to her. Then he thought that this kiss would be accidental. She did not mean it. Then he changed the topic. Jungkook. Nothing now, sleep. I will come in 5 minutes. After saying this, Jungkook stepped out of the room while Wan smirked to see his uneasiness. Wan slept at the edge of the bed while waiting for Jungkook. Soon she saw him stepping in the bedroom and laying on his side. She was stealing glances and she whispered, Wan, in 2 days I will be gone for a month with my friends. Will you miss me? He shook his head before he replied, Jungkook, I don't think so, or maybe I will be going good without you. You know, you are just a trouble for me. She gritted her teeth and turned on other side with a smile kept on his face. In the morning, Jungkook strode out from the bathroom in his robe while keeping his palms on his ear. One was playing music very loudly while she was holding a mic near her mouth. She was singing the lyrics while jumping and dancing on the bed in the same hoodie which she wore last night. It means she did not freshen up and doing karaoke at 2 in the morning. To see this all, Jungkook could not help but to grate his teeth annoyingly. Jungkook, can this girl act mature for a single time? He stepped forward to the music system in his room before he switched off it while one's high pitch rang in his ear. Then she realized that the music system was shut and she turned around. Why did you switch off it? He came to her and took the mic from her hands. Jungkook, do you want our neighbors to complain about you in the police station? He said while Van clicked her tongue before she snickered. Van, whatever you said that I am trouble. Then what are you afraid of? Bear this trouble for 1 more days. Cause I am going and I won't come back again. He frowned his brows while she continued to speak. I had nothing to do today, so I thought to play some music. He cut her off exasperately. Jungkook, in this early morning, go and freshen up first, he said while she shook her head. When I won't, she burst and went out while he shook his head. The day passed while they did not talk to each other. She was doing her dinner quietly while Jungkook passed a glass of water before he chimed. Jungkook, did you pack your bag for your trip? Vine bobbed her head up from her plate with a frown on her face. Vine, huh? She could not believe he was talking to her while he again parted his lips. Jungkook, I said, did you pack your bag? She nodded her head while chewing on her food. Then she immediately contracted and shook her head. Why, nope, not yet. Jungkook hummed and nodded his head up and down subconsciously. Jungkook, then come, I will help you to pack your bag. She was looking at him dumbstruck. Is he that much happy without me that he want to pack my bag now? She thought and grabbed her head in frustration with both of her hands. Jungkook, then he said while Vine hummed as he helped her to pack her bag. Then she saw him dragging another bag. She frowned before she parted her lips. Vanji, I'm done. I don't need another bag. He cut her off expressionlessly. Jungkook, it's for me. Vine's eyes sparkled with her own assumption. Vine, so you are also going with me? I know it. You can live without me. Yoma told me that you care for me more than anyone. He looked at her while taking out his clothes from the wardrobe. Jungkook, who said I'm going with you? I have a business trip, that's why I'm packing my bag. He patted her right cheek before he continued. Don't be delusional, he added while she made a disgusted face. After some time, when he packed his bag, he went in the washroom to change in a comfy clothes while Vine scratched the back of her head. She was looking at her red bag that at Jungkook's black one. A mischievous thought came in her mind before she blabbered to herself. Fine, I won't let you forget me that easily, Mr. John Jungkook, my anti-romantic husband. In the morning at about 6 a.m., Vine felt like some feather touched on her cheeks while she was deep slumbered. Her Adam apple bobbed up and down while she moved at her left side as she was sleeping on her back. Her hands moved and grabbed something while dragging it under her left cheek. Then she felt a sudden jerk and her eyes opened wide. Jungkook pulled his hand abruptly before he snorted. Jungkook, do you want to miss your flight? Come on, get up first. Before she could process it, his voice rang in her ears and she rubbed her eyes with her fist before she looked at him clearly. Mine, huh? But I don't want to go. I want to stay here with you only. She said while pouting. Jungkook frowned and joined his brows in confusion. How much she disliked it the way he treated her, yet she felt safe only with him after her mother's death. Though she planned her trip with her friends, but her only choice was with him to go. While he did not care whether she was with him or not, for him she was just a creator of hundreds of problems. When I want to sleep, please let me sleep more. We already had enough flight at night. Her voice again rang in his ear while she laid again on the bed. Then he held her shoulder, making her to sit on the bed before he grated his teeth. Jungkook, did you lose your mind? We both will miss our flight just because of you. Vine tattled her head if she heard it right and looked at him with her wide eyes. Vine, you me? She pointed her index finger first at him, then at herself before she continued. Vine, don't tell me you are going with me. He cut her off. Jungkook, no, you are going with me and we are going Hawaii. Vine sat up excitedly before she chimed while Jungkook was looking at her adoringly. Vine, it means there is no business trip. You lied about it. He nodded his head, then she cupped his cheek before she pecked his lips, making his blood to rush every inch of his body while she chimed down from the bed before she whispered. Fine, I will be ready in 5 minutes. Jungkook nodded his head subconsciously while he was dumbfounded with his parted lip because of her small act, which he herself did not realize. He shook his head to shrug off the arousal he was getting because of her. The sun was already set down while the sky was getting darker. Jungkook took wine at a hotel he already booked for his stay. He was at the reception while the receptionist passed him the room key. Wine immediately grabbed the key before she parted her lips easily. Wine, I can't wait and stand here. You complete the process till then I will take a nap. Jungkook was almost done but Wine did not let him speak and strode towards the room. While he stood there dumbfounded, then he grabbed his luggage and lifted his leg but a voice rang in his ear. Appa's brilliant student who is now hacking his Appa's profit and income chart is here. What a pleasant surprise. Jungkook turned around upon hearing a familiar voice before he said, Jungkook Park Eun-sang, you work here? She nodded her head who was wearing a knee-length black skirt who then stepped towards him. Then she said, Yoon, I did not expect you to see exactly after a month. You must be on a business trip, right? Jungkook squinted the eyebrows as he was about to retort, but her voice again rang. Yoon, since you are here, let me treat you with dinner tomorrow. He shook his head. Jungkook, thank you, but I already have plans, so sorry. She cut him off. Yoon, oh come on, just think it was as thank you gestures. I will be very glad to treat you. He again shook his head. Jungkook, no, no, it's all fine. I am here with my wife. She again cut him off. Even okay, bye. As you see, being a manager, I can't stay very long at some place. He frowned and shook his head before he turned back and moved. As he stepped in the room, he saw Vine lying on the bed on her stomach. A chuckle escaped from his mouth to see her daisy yet adorable sight. Then he kept the luggage in the corner of the room and strode in the washroom. After some time, to freshen up, he stood up in a wild robe. He ran his hand in his ruffled hair and shook his head, letting his bangs to cover his forehead. He saw Vine was still sleeping and thought to dress up first. As he opened his black bag, his eyes popped out from its socket and looked at Vine's lying figure subconsciously because his bag was stuffed with Vine's clothes. Then he opened Vine's red bag, which has given her clothes. Obviously, he was the one who helped Vine to pack her bag. Then, how his trolley bag was stuffed with Vine's clothes. Then he himself packed his bag with his clothes. Then his gaze fell on a note in his bag stuck with Vine's clothes. Enjoy your beautiful journey with me, actually with my old clothes. Also, there were some funny images drawn which made him aggravated. Then he shouted on Vine harshly and pulled her from her elbow. Jungkook, Vine, get up, Vine. His loud voice rang in her ears while she sat up abruptly. Vine, I did not do anything. I did not. Her subconscious mind let her speak because she was in her habit of it. Then she looked at him and again mewed. I did not do anything this time. Jungkook cupped her cheeks and tilted her head to their backs. While her eyes got wide and she craned her neck more towards them, she gulped and remembered how she changed her clothes when he was in the bathroom. Fine, I don't know how it happened. He clenched his jaws excitedly, then he snorted. Jungkook, you don't know how it happened? She shook her head left and right while he was still cupping her cheeks. Then he burst again. Just shut up. Does my reputation and me mean nothing to you? You just made me a laughing stock. He left her cheeks and grabbed his neck frustratingly while she lowered her head. When I'm sorry, you were going on business trip without me, so I forget it then. He looked at her in disbelief before he sat in front of her. Jungkook, can you not be more childish? Why, even in the world, I said yes to marry you. Now please leave me alone for a while. She climbed down from the bed before she purred. Fine. I said I'm sorry. Jungkook, I don't need sorry, I need my dress, so please go. She turned to the door before she opened it and turned to him. Then he said expressionlessly, just don't be lost to bring more troubles for me. I am not a troubleshooter. Once told out while looking at him with her twisted neck and closed the door from out. Yuma, I miss you, only you love me unconditionally, Vine said while looking in the sky. She was sitting on the bench on the hotel roof. Her jaw was tightened and her eyes were burning as he was holding her tears. She bit her lower lip then continued to speak. Fine, I again created problem for him, Yuma. I did not mean it. I just wanted to get his attention. However, I again pissed him off. Then she scoffed, letting out a sound of huh before she continued. Vine, I do things just to be noticed by him. I like him actually. I love him. She took a deep breath to know to let her fell her tears accumulated in the corner of her eyes. Vine, Yuma, don't I deserve him? Am I that bad? She sniffed. Vine, I know he said those things in anger while in actual he does not mean it. He is very good with me. That's why I don't want to lose him before I always bring trouble for him. She again sniffed while taking to her mother and lost a track of time before she fell asleep on the same bench. Meanwhile, after Vine left the room, Jungkook ordered some suits and other clothes for him online. In just 1 hour, he get his parcel on his door and he got ready. Before he left his room, he then went at the reception and asked for Vine if she left any message for him. While the receptionist denied, then he looked around in order to find her, but he did not and called on her phone. Her phone was continuously ringing while it was not picked by anyone. His heart sank and he left the hotel to search her out. He was relentlessly calling her while searching her nearby his hotel. Then he whispered regretfully, Jungkook, I'm sorry, baby. I want to frustrated to think right and wrong. This is not our home city. Just stay safe. After searching her about 2 hours, he came back to his room thinking if she was back while calling her again and the ringtone of her phone rang in his ear. He felt relaxed to hear the ring but soon he got anxious while his heartbeat was violent. When he did not saw her in the room, he expectantly strode in the washroom but she was not there. Then he stepped out and found her phone on the bed while talking to himself. Jungkook, Vine, where are you? Don't punish me like this. Then he threw her phone on the bed and sat on it before he continued. I never said it, but the truth is I love you. I need you, baby. Then he finished out his phone and opened his phone gallery. He was cursing Vine's picture, which he took secretly. Jungkook, I am missing you, my baby. Please come back. Then his gaze fell on the camera and realization hit him. He immediately went to the control room and asked to look through CCTV surveillance. Soon he caught her in the camera and found her on the roof too. He immediately strode to the elevator, but it was busy, so he went up through stairs while removing his blazer. In a blink, he reached there and saw Vine lying on the bench. He was breathing heavily, yet he stepped towards her as fast as he can and found her deep slumbered. He took a sigh of relief while keeping his hand on his knees. He then covered her curled sleek figure with his blazer and sat near her. For some time he kissed her head while adoring her baby face and saw the stains of tears at the corner of her eye. His chest tightened cause he can't see her crying. Then he took her in his arms before he lifted his legs and strode from there. In the middle of the night, Van's eyes opened and she felt heaviness on her waist. As he was sleeping on her left side, she twisted her head and found herself curled in Jungkook's embrace on their hotel bed. How would she know how much terrified he was his time when he did not find her and ended up sleeping with her, while hugging her tightly as if he had lost her if he let her go. After realizing their closeness, Swan felt butterflies in her stomach and forgot that she was feeling hungry. Then she grabbed his hand, which was on her, and closed her eyes before she slumbered. The next day, he did not comfort her nor he scolded her for anything. In fact, he asked her to go on a beach after their lunch. They spent their evening at the beach and they went for some shopping while Van was like her old self making things difficult for him. Van, I'm telling you, this pink t-shirt will look good on you. Just try this. Jungkook shook his head. Jungkook, yeah, how would I wear this girlish color? It is very flashy. Just choose something for yourself. Van sat on the couch while potting, then she said, it's not girlish but very manly. If not, then why? It's made for a man. I'm telling you, it will look good on you. She was telling it to him while his gaze fell on a black, preppy night out dress on a dummy. Van frowned and followed his gaze before she chimed. Van, don't tell me to wear that dress because that is not my style. Well, Jungkook cut her off. Jungkook, what is wrong in that style? You always wear baggy clothes. Why don't you try this? Then he realized how eagerly he was convincing her to try that dress and shut his mouth while her voice rang in his ear, which was unexpected from her. One, I will try, but no, on one condition. You have to try this pink t-shirt. As he said, Jungkook nodded his head unknowingly as he was busy creating pictures of Wine in that dress. Then Wine asked the staff girl to pick their clothes while Jungkook was in his own world until her voice rang in his ears. Wine, Mr. John, Jungkook paid the bill. Jungkook nodded and said, Jungkook, what did you buy? Wine frowned and looked at him in disbelief, earning his confused expression. After the shopping, they came back to hotel and rested for some time. Then Vine opened her bag to find a suitable dress so that she can wear for their dine out and toast every piece of clothes, every corners of the room. One of her dress landed on Jungkook's head, who was working on his laptop while turning to opposite side of her as he felt something on his head. He closed his eyes and took the dress in his hand before he looked at it. It was her hot plans. Then he turned around and his head popped out from his neck before he cursed. Jungkook, what the? He did not complete his sentence when his gaze fell on Vine and he stopped in the middle before he continued. Jungkook, what are you doing, Vine? He said with not so good mood, earning her gaze on him. She pursed her lip if she again pissed him off before she gulped down her saliva while he continued. Jungkook, can you not increase my work or should I book separate room for me? Then he sat up before he strode out with his laptop while speaking. Jungkook, tell me when you will ready, I will pick you. He closed the door while in this all chose a forgot Park Yoon sang dinner treat and Wine felt disheartened. When he left her alone so that she can learn to arrange her stuff, Wine bit her lower lip feeling sad not seeing him around her. Then she again looked at her dresses but she did not find any suitable one to wear. Then her gaze fell on the shopping bag and she thought for a while before she chose to wear that black dress. Half an hour later, she blabbered annoyingly to herself, Jungkook. What the hell? First the dress curled to my skin and now my hair. I don't even know how to style it on this dress. Ugh, my hands are itching. After so many struggles, she made a rough bun as she used to make always and curled some hairs to strand both sides of her forehead and ears and wore a ankle-strapped red flat sandal. She did not inform Jungkook and left the room as messy as it was. She was little uncomfortable with the tight fitting of her dress and was continuously pulling up the hem of it from the chest, while the frill of it was giggling on her thighs as she stepped at the reception. Jungkook's gaze lifted up when he saw her silhouette and his breath hitched before he gulped. He sat up dazedly and his heart stopped beating for some time. His gaze was fixed on her while Vine was avoiding any eye contact with him because of what she did in the room. Through she wore this dress so that he won't scold her for the mess she created as this dress was chosen by him. Yet she was not sure whether he will let her go off. When she found Jungkook staring at her, she cleared her throat. She bit her lower lips before she continued while titling her head left and right. I'm done, shall we go? He gained his senses back and nodded his head before he whispered, Jungkook, give me 1 minute, I will be back soon. She nodded while he left. Then she sat there while waiting for him. She was not confident with her new appearance because of some stare on her while actually they were adoring her beauty. She lowered her head while fidgeting with her finger. Soon Jungkook stepped towards her before his voice rang in her ears. Jungkook, let's go. As soon as she lifted her head up, she felt goosebumps. He was wearing the same pink t-shirt tucked underneath with black slacks. No one can say he was the same man who always wore dark colors. When she realized her stare on him, she immediately turned her head and nodded her head. Then they both left for a nearby restaurant. While going through the passage of the restaurant, Vine felt like her dress was ripping, so she excused herself and went toward the washroom to check her dress while Jungkook was waiting for her. Some steps away, she was a man looking at her who then passed a line to her. Want a date? I will be very glad to worship you. Vine ignored and walked past by him. Meanwhile, Jungkook was waiting for her. At the same time, Yoonsang's voice rang in his ears. Yoonsang, you are here and I was waiting for you inside. Well, I never thought I will see you in the attire. It's totally beyond my imagination. Jungkook titled his head while squinting his eyebrows. He was confused as to why would someone wait for him other than his wife and did not pay attention to her last sentence. To clear his confusion, he parted his lips. Jungkook, and why would you wait for me? Yeonsang felt his unfamiliar gesture towards her. Yeonsang, did not I tell you to treat you with tonight's dinner? I even dropped a message to you. That's why you are here, right? She said while he became more puzzled and joined his bros. Jungkook, but I did not get any message. I came here with my. He stopped and fished out his phone before he checked the messenger. Actually, a message from her 2 hours ago. He was busy doing his work. Then he left his room because of wine, and he did not saw the message. While he coincidentally came in the same restaurant, he then looked at her embarrassingly before he said, "Jungkook, I'm sorry for the inconvenience." She cut him off while grinning. Yeon sang, "Now you got it." He was about to nod his head, but he felt her grips on his arm. "Jungkook, what are you doing?" He was looking at her hands, which were grabbing his arm. While she did not say anything and dragged him to the table, she left his arm and turned to him. Young sang, "Come sit." She pulled the chair for him. "Actually," she continued while he was staring at her while processing. "Actually, there is something I want to confess." His face was expressionless as he could think that what was she going to say before she could see he parted his lips. "Jungkook, look, Miss Park, I am here with my wife. She must be looking for me, so let me go." He turned around while she frowned and come before him, stopping him on his track. Yoon sang, "Ye, what are you saying? I never hear you getting married, nor I saw any girl with you, not even any rumor of you dating someone. Then how can you marry suddenly?" "Jungkook, just because you don't know does not mean I am lying. It's the same girl you saw last time at the restaurant." Her face color changed yellow to pale upon hearing this. Then she hugged him, thinking he was lying to avoid her while speaking. Yoon sang, "How can she be your type? I know you like independent and mature girls, so don't avoid me with this excuse." While he struggled and tried to detach her, Jungkook, "Miss Park, please leave me," he said, making her to tighten her grips on him while his gaze fell on Vine, who was looking at him contemptuously. His heart skipped a beat and he stopped struggling, just staring at Vine, who then swayed her legs in the air one by one, letting her sandals to fly, which further landed on Yoonsang's back. She groaned, gaining not only Jungkook's attention but others who were present in the restaurant. Then he again looked at Van before he snorted, "Jungkook, behave yourself, Van. You are hurting her." Van became furious while Yeonsang turned around, still groaning. "Yeonsang, this was the girl you were talking," he hummed and parted his lips. "Jungkook, I'm sorry. I'm apologizing on behalf of her." The level of Vian's passion overflowed upon hearing this. Then she roamed her eyes in the whole restaurant and found the same guy staring at her. She stepped toward him and grabbed his collar, making him to stand on his feet. He became baffled when she snickered, "When you wanted to worship me?" Jungkook stumbled a step backward upon hearing this, and he left Yeonsang before he snorted. "Jungkook, Wine." She did not look at him while she continued to speak to the guy. "Wine, don't worry, I am pure. My husband never touched me." As she said, Jungkook's eyes became bald, and he clenched his fist in anger. The veins on his neck popped out while Wine yanked the guy towards her before she parted her lips. "Wine, come on, kiss me." That's it. Jungkook took fast step before the guy to kiss her, and he yanked her toward him by clutching her arm. As she turned to him, so he smashed his lips on her, making her eyes wide open while Youngsang's jaws dropped. Jungkook was kissing her while showing his anger as well as the love he was hiding somewhere in his heart. A tear fell from the corner of her eyes while she snagged her hand around his neck as he was holding from very long when she saw her husband hugging someone other than her, kissing each other while forgetting the surroundings. They heard clapping sound. Then Vine whispered, making him to nod his head, still kissing each other. "Vine, I don't want to stay here anymore." Then he whispered back after nodding his head. "Jungkook, jump on me." She hesitated, then he assured her, "Just hold me tightly." She encircled her hand to the back of his neck as well as snuggled her head in the crook of his shoulder. Then he slid his hand on her thighs and helped her to jump on him. At the same time, he pulled the hem of her dress down with his hand to keep her safe from any harmful exposure. Everyone looked at them, awestruck, while Jungkook left with Wine. As he reached the hotel room, he closed the room by kicking on the door. Then he locked the door and stepped towards his bed. Wine's eyes popped out to see the room. It was much messier than before. How would she know how badly Jungkook was searching that t-shirt she bought for him? Then he also scattered his dress on the whole bed but found the bag of the t-shirt kept on the console. After realizing the cause of the messy room, Jungkook cleaned the bed by sliding his head on it. Still whining, he embraced when he laid her on it while whispering, Jungkook, how dare you to say I never touch you? She gulped while he hovered on top of her while pinning her hands above her head with his one hand. She let out a shaky breath. When is not it true? He was staring at her, then he curled his lips seductively. Jungkook, then from now on you will remember only my touches. Tonight you will know how badly I want to touch you in every aspect. She felt goosebumps with his dirty talks while he continued, because we are going to unlock our fears. She felt an exotic sensation between her legs while he attached on her neck, giving her love marks while she moaned. After some time, Vine made eye contact with him, who was caressing the mark as he made on her neck. When she was your professor's daughter, right? He nodded his head when she again continued. Why was she hugging you? He was staring at her expressionlessly before he whispered huskily. Jungkook, is it necessary to know about her in the middle of it? She pursed her lips and felt his one hand underneath her dress, her back arched with his sensual touch while his other hand grabbed her thigh before he pinched her. She moaned while he smirked and attached his lips with her skin just before her curves. The night was long as well as dreamy, and they ended up making love for the first time, exploring each other's sensitive spots. Sunrays fell on Vine, who slitted on the bed before she yawned while opening her eyes. Slowly, she was wearing her pink with black polka dots PJ, while Jungkook was slumbered. He was embracing her, and their bodies were curled into each other. She settled her index finger on his scared cheek while adoring his sleeping face. She ran her finger on his nose bridge, then to his lips while remembering the moment of last night. She smiled shyly and removed her finger from his lips while he grabbed her wrist before she heard him speaking. Jungkook, don't stop. His eyes were still closed while she wriggled between. She whispered, Why? You are awake, he hummed and opened his eyes. Then he said, Jungkook, how can I sleep when I have more important things to do? She frowned because he was sleeping with her by grabbing her the rest of the night wine. But you were sleeping with me. He shook his head with a slight pout before he purred. Jungkook, I was adoring my wife. Like you were doing just now. The only change was you were deep slept, so you did not feel my touch. Her heart skipped a beat and she closed her eyes shyly. After some time, Vine was picking the clothes and folding it while Jungkook came out from the washroom and grabbed her wrist before he parted his lips. Jungkook, why are doing that? At him, she looked at him, earning his questioning expression. When I'm trying to clean the room, he left her hand and stepped more close to her before he kissed the side of her forehead. Jungkook, don't you? You can't snatch the right of me to nag on you because it gives me the reason to make conversation with you. She bit her lips while listening to him when he grabbed her knee with his one hand and leaned over her. He brushed his lips on her and the dress in her hands dropped down as her hands reached on his chest subconsciously. At evening, Jungkook was resting at the pool area on the wooden desk with Wine, who was sipping her juice with. She looked at him while he, without looking at her, whispered, Jungkook, don't look at me like this. It is turning me on. Wine spoke before she said, Wine, so what? It is not your bedroom. He cut her off. Jungkook, this whole area I booked for two of us, so I can do whatever I want. She gulped and looked at him in disbelief. Just then a third person's voice reverberated in their ears. Young-sang, can I have 1 minute of yours? She was looking at Jungkook with the couple frowned because just then Jungkook said this whole area was booked for two of them. Then they tilted their heads in the direction of the voice before Jungkook said expressionlessly. Jungkook, oh, so you are taking advantage of your job, then I will only say no because my wife won't like it. Yeon Sang then looked at Van before she parted her lips. Yeon Sang, please, I was here to apologize about my actions. Van titled her head towards Jungkook before she whispered, Van, you should listen to her. Jungkook was staring straight before he said, Jungkook said here before my wife because you made her uneasy. Then she hesitated a little and remembered how Van hit her with her sandals. Before she stuttered, Yeon Sang, I'm sorry about last night. I actually did not know you were married. If I know, I would not dare to hug you like that. Then she looked at Vine before she parted her lips. I apologized about last night. Please forgive me. Vine pursed her lips and nodded her head while Jungkook said, Jungkook, you can go now and make sure no one come here to ruin our personal time. Only then you will be forgiven. She nodded her head and left from there feeling embarrassed as she realized she lost a friend like Jungkook, who then looked at Vine with his straight expressions. Jungkook, she apologized for her wrongdoings and you should also have to apologize about your actions. One expression changed plain to contemptance before she snorted. One, yeah, why would I say sorry? I did not do anything unreasonable. She does it. She deserved that, and you already apologized on behalf of me, so don't think I will repeat your actions. After listening to her, Jungkook expression was like, really? He then sat a while Vine became alert of his behavior before she snickered. Vine, yay, why are you coming to me? In the meantime, he reached and lifted her in arms while she was wriggling. Yeah, leave me. He did not listen to her and stood on the edge of the pool before he parted his lips with a smirk plastered on his lips. Jungkook, I punish you first. Then he jumped on the pool with her in the embrace. A month later, she got ready for her college while the room was all neat and clean. The blower was on its original base and towel was hanging in the washroom. There was no dress on the floor and the dressing table was arranged and cleaned. Jungkook felt blissful to see his wife becoming mature and good at doing things. Then he stepped towards the wardrobe while Vine said bye to him and stepped towards the door. Just then he unlocked the wardrobe and the dresses of wine fell on his face in heaps while he cursed. Jungkook, what the wine? And he shouted Vine's name, making her to halt on her track. Then he snorted, turn around. She turned around while acting fool. Then Jungkook stepped toward her. What is this all and who will clean your mess? She blinked her eye multiple times before she chimed a long speech. When I did not do this, I was just searching a new dress for the first day of my college after vacation. I really don't know how it happened. Can you please tell the maid to arrange them? I really need to go college on time. Jungkook did not understand anything what she said as he was already getting late for his office, but he can't let her escape with her responsibility and put it on the maid. Then an evil idea came in his mind and he stepped more close to her before he cupped in her cheeks. Then he whispered seductively, Jungkook, I did not give you a goodbye kiss, right? He was brushing her lips with his thumb while she became flabbergasted with his sensual touch and deep voice before she nodded her head subconsciously. Then he leaned on her before he smashed his lips and kissed her passionately. He pulled her lowerly before he detached with her and looked deep in her eyes. He then gestured her while lifting his eyebrows. That what wow. She was so enchanted with his charm that she first shook her head, then he nodded her head before she mewed. One, I still has time for college, so I should first arrange my dresses. He nodded his head and left her before he signaled by stretching his hand in the same direction. One followed his instructions while he smirked triumphantly. That was how he finally understood how to bring his wife on right track and let her know her responsibilities as he began to envisage his future with her and his little kids. So for the future's sake he have to work on her so that she can be able to raise his kids with him. The end.